In our previous discussion, we talked about a cover-up case involving children at Morningstar in North Carolina, and now we're going to review a case about a child at Daystar in Texas. 3 days ago, in a news story about the Daystar television network in Dallas, Daystar president Joni was credibly accused of trying to cover up criminal abuse against her granddaughter, whom we will call Jane Doe. Jane is a precious little girl, only 5 years old, who was violated by a man the report called Pete. We don't know much about him, but he has lawyered up, and his criminal defense lawyer issued the following statement defending Pete. My client unequivocally denies the statements made by Jonathan and Susie Lamb alleging that he engaged in some form of improper contact with any child. But the evidence against Pete comes from the girl and her parents. Jonathan and Susie say Jane told them what happened, and they have noticed classic symptoms of traumatic crime victims. There is also the testimony of the father who said he once found Pete in a room alone with his daughter, and he was profusely apologetic. Pete is in serious trouble because Texas has some of the most severe penalties in the United States for crimes against children. Jessica's law was signed by Governor Rick Perry in 2007 to make the penalties for crimes against kids even more harsh, and the mandatory minimum sentences are now shocking. Violation of a child 5 or younger is legally classified as aggravated assault. This heinous crime escalates to aggravated assault just based on the age and vulnerability of the child. A person convicted of aggravated assault of a child now faces a minimum of 25 years in prison. About 20 years ago, after a man in Texas named Ronald Green violated a 5-year-old little girl, he was convicted and sentenced to 25 years in prison. He tried to get his conviction overturned, but the appellate court upheld it. Based on the evidence already provided in the Daystar case, Pete committed a very similar crime as Green, against a child of the same age as Green's victim, so he is also facing 25 years in prison. But in Pete's case it is far worse, because the news report says he committed 2 crimes. There were 2 different violations of the child, and Pete can be convicted of each offense. In Texas, instead of 25 years for one offense, or 50 years for 2, sentencing escalates dramatically. Pete's prison sentence can be up to 99 years or life without the option for early release, but here's the kicker: a second conviction of aggravated assault is a capital felony. DallasJustice.com says, the crime of SA of a child in Texas is a serious felony charge. The statute defines punishment for the offense as a felony of the first degree, treating the conviction as worthy of the same level of punishment as murder. A Texas defendant convicted of murder is eligible for parole after serving 1/2 of the sentence, or 30 years, whichever is less. From this perspective, it's clear that SA of a child is a far more serious crime than first-degree murder according to current Texas law. An average SA conviction almost always results in a more severe punishment than most murder defendants receive in this state. The attorney at Dallas Justice goes on to say, in Texas, conviction of this offense for the first time is a serious matter. However, anyone facing SA charges for the second time needs to be aware that a second conviction can result in an automatic sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Also, Texas is a capital punishment state. If someone is convicted more than once for the felony in the first degree of SA, he or she may find the state seeking the death penalty.